Hello everyone, I'm Anastasia. I welcome you all to this new session of Fundamental of Nursing. So in our previous session, as we have started discussing about how we can prepare the bed for a client, about bed making, we've discussed in detail about what is the purpose, what is the principle, as well as what are the guidelines we need to follow. In this session, I am going to teach you about the different types of bed which we will be making for the client depending on their condition. So as we have discussed that bed making is a technique of preparing the bed for the client which will make them feel comfortable as well as which will be suitable to their disease condition. This bed making is a procedure which is done in order to make the bed neat and tidy, and also it is through this that it will enhance the comfort level of the client, since once a client is being admitted in a hospital, the most time he will be spending is in his bed. Now, what are the types of bed? So here there are different types of bed. The first one is the open bed. The second is the closed bed. The third is the occupied bed. Then comes the admission bed, the post-operative bed, the cardiac bed, amputation bed, or we can also call it as a divided bed, the fracture bed, as well as the therapeutic bed. There are different types of bed making that we can perform depending on the condition of the client in order to make them feel comfortable as well as to make it suitable for their disease condition. So now let us discuss about each bed in detail. So let us start with the first bed, that is the open bed. So here this open bed is a term which is used to designate the hospital bed which is about to be occupied by a client. So this bed is usually made for a new client or for an ambulatory client. This bed is made as usual as the other beds are made. However, here one cover of the bed is folded back in order to let the patient in. So as you can see in the picture, this is an open bed. This open bed is usually made before a client is being assigned with that particular bed. And while we are making this bed, we should make sure that one cover of the bed is being folded back in order to let the client in. What is the purpose of making this open bed? We do this in order to keep it ready for receiving any client, as well as we do this to promote the hygiene as well as to promote a clean and a neat appearance of the unit. Not only that, but also through this, it also provides a clean and a hygienic environment for the client. And the second one is the closed bed. So what is this closed bed? This closed bed is just opposite of what open bed is. An open bed, as I've said, will make the bed as usual. It's just that one cover or that the top cover will be folded behind. Whereas in this closed bed, that top cover will be arranged in such a manner that it will protect the inner linens from all the dust and dirt. Why? Because this closed bed is the one which is not assigned to any client yet, or that is not occupied by any client. So this will be an empty bed. So what we do here is that the top cover will be arranged in such a manner that it protects all the inner linens, that is the bed sheet, the pillow cover, as well as the blanket from dust and dirt. So in short, we can say that this closed bed is an empty bed which is not occupied by any client. That is why we have made it in such a manner that all the inner linens will be protected, so that if it is to be assigned to any client, the bed will be ready and it will still be neat and clean even though it was performed beforehand. What is the purpose of this bed? As I've repeatedly been saying, this bed is being prepared in order to keep it ready for occupancy. That is, in order to keep it ready so that we can receive the client at any point of time, as well as by making this bed, it also gives a tidy and a neat appearance of the unit. The next one is the occupied bed. So here from the name itself, you can understand a bed which is occupied, which means a bed where a client is already being assigned and a bed where it is already being used by a client. So here, how will you make this type of bed? You will be changing the linens, you will be changing the blanket, the pillow cover of that bed which has been provided for the client, with the client being in it. So what is the purpose of making this occupied bed? The first one is to make a bed with least possible discomfort to the client. The second is to handle the bedclothes skillfully while the client is on the bed, and also to give a least possible disturbance to the client. And also it helps to provide a neat and a tidy appearance to the unit. So here, since this occupied bed is a bed which we will be making when the client himself will be on that bed, so what we do here is that when we make this bed, we try our best to prevent disturbing the client as well as to handle the bedclothes skillfully, and we do it in such a way that it will cause a least possible discomfort to the client. So how you make this occupied bed will be different from how you make the other beds, because in the other beds it will not be occupied and you can easily make it, but in this occupied bed the procedure which you will be performing will be different from the others. Here, first, what you need to do is you need to explain to the client why you are making the bed and why is it important, as well as the sequence of the procedure. After you have explained, then you should also make sure that you assemble all the equipments and the linen must be within easy reach. And then after this, what you must do is that you must remove the pillow cover, you must untuck the bed sheet on all sides, and you must also remove the spread blanket, leaving the top sheet over the client. And this bed is usually performed for clients who are critically ill, cannot get down off the bed. So here what you will be doing is that you can call for assistance if required, and also you can turn the client away from you while you are doing this particular procedure. And after this is done, you must make sure that you fan fold the draw sheet and push it as close to the client as possible. Then you must damp dust the rubber sheet, and you can also roll it back. After this has been done, then you can again fan fold the bottom sheet to the client. You can dry the mattress by using a dry duster, whereas a damp duster must be used whenever you are cleaning the cot. And when you do this, you should make sure that you raise the mattress from the cot using one hand, and the other hand you can damp dust it. After you have dusted both the mattress and the cot, then the next thing you can do is that you can place the clean bottom sheet over the mattress by making sure that the middle fold of the bottom sheet is in the middle of the bed. Half of this sheet should be fan folded and kept near to the client. Then you can start tucking the sheet. That is, first you must tuck the head end, make the corner at the top and at the bottom, and tuck the sides in the open bed. Then above the Macintosh, you should place the clean draw sheet and also tuck this inside the mattress. And then you can take the draw sheet and place it above the Macintosh and also tuck the near end under the mattress. So when you are done with that particular side, you must turn the client on that side. You must move the side rails up, and then again you go to the opposite side and you perform the same procedure as you have done in that side. After you have done this, then what next you can do is that on that side where the bed has already been made, you should make sure that you turn the client to that particular side and you go to the opposite side of the bed. As soon as you reach the opposite side of the bed, you must first remove the soiled linen and put it in the laundry bag, and then you should straighten the bottom sheet, the Macintosh, as well as the draw sheet, and tuck them under the mattress as well. After you have tucked both sides of the bed, the next you can do is that you can turn the client back to the middle of the bed. Then you must remove the soiled top sheet and place another clean top sheet over the client. You must then replace the blanket and also provide a new blanket for the client. However, you must make sure that when you are tucking the foot end of the blanket, it must be in such a way that it gives freedom for their movement. And the last thing is that you must also change the pillow cover, provide a new pillow cover for the client, and then position it in a way that they will be comfortable in. These are the various steps that you need to follow when you are preparing this occupied bed. Now moving on to the next one, that is the admission bed. So here, as you can see in the picture, this admission bed is made in the same manner as how we make the open bed. Here usually what happens is that as soon as a client is being admitted into the hospital, he will be assigned with one bed. If it is the custom of the hospital that the client, before he gets into a patient's own bed, must take a thorough shower, as well as must change into the hospital clothes, then this must be done before he or she gets into his bed. And if you encounter certain clients who may be critically ill and who may not be able to freshen up themselves, then what you can do is that by the use of this Macintosh and this draw sheet, you can put it over the open bed until you have given a thorough bath for them at the time of admission. And after you have helped the client freshen up, then this Macintosh and this bed sheet must be removed, and the bed can be made warm by using the hot water bottle or even the hot water bag. What is the purpose of this admission bed? The first purpose is to welcome the client. The second is to provide an immediate care, safety, as well as to enhance the comfort of the client. And the third is to protect the bed linen while you are giving bath to the client on admission. The next bed is the post-operative bed. So here from the name itself, you can understand that this is a bed which will be occupied by the client who will be recovering from the effects of anesthesia following any surgery. The main purpose of making this bed is to receive the client comfortably, as well as to provide warmth and comfort, to prevent them from shock, to prevent them from injury, as well as to prevent soiling of the bed, and also to meet any emergency requirement. Why? Because here, as soon as a client has just undergone any surgery, you may encounter some cases where there will be an emergency requirement which will be required. So here, in order to enhance the comfort level of the client, in order to enhance the warmth and safety, and also in order to be able to provide any emergency requirement of the client, this bed is made in such a way that it can be occupied by those clients. Even while making this bed, the steps will differ from how you usually make the other bed. What are the various steps you need to follow when you are making this pre-operative bed? Here we can understand that the way we will be making this bed will differ from how we make the other bed. So here the foundation of this bed is to place an extra Macintosh as well as towels at the head end in order to prevent the linen from being soiled by the vomitus. And also the foot end of the top linen will be left untucked, whereas they will be folded back even with the mattress. And also here, when you make this bed, what you need to do is, standing on one side of the bed, the top linen is fan fold to the opposite side. As you can see in the picture, this is how post-operative bed is being made. Also, while doing this, all the other needed materials, equipment, articles which can be required for providing an immediate care to the client, such as the IV stand, the bed blocks, and certain medications must be placed ready near the bed of the client. And also, no pillows will be kept for the client at the head end, whereas we can use this in certain areas in order to protect the client from any injury. And also, depending on the surgery which the client has undergone, an additional Macintosh as well as draw sheet may be used according to the site of operation in order to protect the bed from becoming soiled or from getting wet. And also, according to the surgery which the client has performed, any additional Macintosh as well as draw sheet can be given at that particular site of operation in order to prevent the bed from becoming soiled. And if pillows are being used in order to support the operated area, then here we must make sure that these pillows must be covered with the waterproof covers. That is about the post-operative bed. Now moving on to the next, which is the cardiac bed. These cardiac beds are being made with special arrangement which is required by any cardiac client. These beds are made in such a manner that it will help to ease the respiration of the client. Why? Because usually we will be seeing that any client who may suffer from any cardiac diseases will be having trouble in breathing. So this is a bed which will be made to enhance their comfort as well as to ease their respiration. In this type of bed, we will be providing extra pillows to be kept at the head end in order to keep the client in a proper position for better airflow. The main purpose of making this bed is to relieve dyspnea, which means difficulty in breathing. And the next one is the amputation bed. So this amputation bed is being made in order to enhance the comfort level of the client. It is made in such a manner that it will be easy for the family members as well as for the medical staff to handle the client. The main purpose of this bed is that to watch the stump for hemorrhage as well as to apply tourniquet instantly whenever it is required, as well as to keep the stump in position. So this is about the amputation bed. Now moving on to the next one, that is the fracture bed. This is a kind of bed which is mainly used for the client who has had a fracture, especially in their lower extremities, in order to provide a firm support by the use of a firm mattress that rests on a fracture board or a bed board. So here, as you can see in the picture, that this is a fracture bed whereby it is mainly used by the client who have had a fracture in the lower extremities. Why? Because this bed will be providing a firm support by the use of the firm mattress that will be resting on a fracture board or a bed board. The main purpose of this bed is to prevent the undue sagging of the mattress, to immobilize the fracture part, to restrict certain jerky movement, as well as to keep the traction in position. So here, whenever a client has had any fracture, it is usually common that we provide traction. So in order to keep this traction in position, this fracture bed is being made. So moving on to the last bed, which is the therapeutic bed. This therapeutic bed is also commonly known as the renal rheumatism or the blanket bed. So here, from the name itself, you can understand that this is a type of bed which is usually made for client who is suffering from any rheumatism or renal diseases. The main purpose of this bed is to carry the weight of the client clothes off the painful joints. It helps to keep the client warm, and it also helps to induce any swelling. So this is why this therapeutic bed is being made and is being provided to these type of client. It helps to keep the client warm as well as it also helps to induce swelling. So this is why therapeutic bed is made. So now here we have come to the end of this topic. So in today's session, we have discussed in detail about the different types of bed, which is the open bed, the closed bed, the admission bed, the post-operative bed, the occupied bed, the cardiac bed, the amputation bed, the fracture bed, as well as the therapeutic bed. So I hope you have got a clear understanding of why do we make these type of beds and what are its various purpose. So I hope you have got a clear understanding of this topic. I'll be meeting you in another session. Until then, have a good day. Thank you.